All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to sit down with my friend and legend, Jeremy Taubman, right? And now I say it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm usually bad at that, but number 417, Super Hooligan. The first time I had him on, I had him and his girl Shayna on. We was talking about everything, remix racing, how the whole program got together, which is an absolutely amazing program. If you guys missed that episode, please go back, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. You guys can re-listen to it. This episode, me and Jeremy are going to talk about his grassroots, how he originally got into the sport, where he first fell in love with two wheels, and all that good stuff. But before we get into this episode, I want to give my man Justin Beamer a big old shout out. Thank you so much for your shirt. He's an absolute up and coming legend of the sport. Races a ZX10. He does have merch for sale, so go follow him on all his social medias or hit me up if you're interested in supporting. I'm a big advocate of supporting all my friends that race, man. It's I know it means a lot to you guys when people buy your shirts and stickers and hats and stuff like that. And I tell everybody, Jeremy, and I said this during our podcast, it's very important to keep it within our industry.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you buy parts, don't order it off of Amazon or Target or Walmart or wherever you get them at. Don't do that. Between me and Jeremy and everybody else I've had on there, we know everybody in the industry. If there's anything you need, hats, beanies, apparel, bike parts, exhaust, leathers, whatever it is, we definitely got you covered. So, yeah, hit us up. But Jeremy, man, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. So good to see you, Chris.
Dude, it's absolutely always. I was super stoked today. I was at work talking about the podcast tonight, and of course, everybody's like, they don't watch it. They're like, well, who's this guy? And I'm like, dude, check it out. I said, look, we're here at work. We got 10 hours. Go to the episode and have a listen for yourself, right? You'll learn all about it. So, but yeah, I want to get into it because me and you got a lot to talk about. You've had an amazing year in 2025. A lot of love and support from everybody in the paddock and your friends and family too, is me as well. But I want to talk about your grassroots, man. Where it all began for you on two wheels, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chris, for asking. We all have our own unique story. I think mine among the folks that I race with might be kind of special and unique in a different way.
Who?
Someone's here.
Who's here?
I don't know. They have him on their bike.
Oh, it's probably James. Just tell him I'm doing a podcast. My buddy. So I got a buddy, James.
Yeah.
Super cool, man. We've been friends since high school. Hey, shut my door, Rossi. All right. We've been friends since high school. He has a couple bikes right now. He's got a FZ07, bought a Kawasaki Concorde, got a Honda Twin Africa, an automatic, which is really weird to ride. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as he got it, I was like, dude, I gotta take this thing for a spin.
Like a big motor scooter.
It is. It's not the smoothest shifting thing in the world, right? Especially when you try to ride it like a race bike, right? It does not like that at all. But for it is what it is. It's actually a nice ride. So, but he always stops by, never calls, never texts, just pops in. It's like, hey, what's up? So that's him out there. But anyway, yeah, Jeremy, let's get back to the story about their own unique journey for sure.
Yeah. So I'll work backwards and then we'll go back to the beginning. But I'm turning 54 in a couple of weeks. I completed my first competitive race season in 2019. So I started racing at the end of 2018. So, against most of the guys that I race with, I think I'm kind of an anomaly. Most guys my age have been racing longer than most of these kids have been alive, right? Like they tell me they've been racing 30, 40 years. My racing story is much more recent than that. I fell in love with motorcycles from the earliest days. I loved everything about them. I loved anything that had to do with going fast, having fun, taking risks. But I also grew up in a family where that just wasn't the norm, right? Like my dad was an academic. My mom was also had her graduate degree, and they were both professionals and kind of risk averse. My mom, rest her soul. Love you, Mom. I know she's watching. She's right here with me right now. She was just, the best mom a little boy could ask for. She loved me. She protected me. She could be mama bear when she needed to, but she was always so worried about me getting hurt. So I couldn't play any contact sports, at least not with her permission, right? So, I mean, I found my way to get into all kinds of trouble. I've been a hooligan since I was a kid. And, you know, so whether I was riding my BMX bike or skateboard or whatever, you know, playing mud football with the boys in the park after a good rain, I kind of had to sneak my way around to do it. But I loved motorcycles and everything about them. I had friends who started riding in early high school, maybe riding dirt bikes when they were younger, maybe late elementary school and junior high. And it just wasn't in the cards for me. So I remember when I think I was in early high school, I wanted to get a motorcycle because a lot of my friends were getting scooters and bikes and that kind of thing. And I went to my dad and I asked if I could get one. And he said, absolutely not. They're too dangerous. And I said, what are you talking about? Dangerous? They're not dangerous. Not if you know how to ride and you ride safely. And like I said, he was an academic. So, you know, professor at a university and also, you know, professional in his industry. And so he gave me a challenge, and I love challenges. So he gave me a challenge. He said, go to the library. This was back before we had Google and Yahoo and AI and all that, right? So go to the library, do some research, and if you could write a report based on facts from your research demonstrating the safety of motorcycles, then I'll let you get one. And he knew he had me right where he wanted me, right? Like he thought this was checkmate. So, but like I said, I love a good challenge. So I went to the library, read a bunch of books on motorcycles, and you know, you got a better field of vision than cars. They're more maneuverable, quicker braking, quicker accelerating. So, you know, you can get out of danger more quickly and all of this. And, you know, we know that there's risk associated with riding bikes, but the challenge was put together a research paper on the safety. And so I did, and I showed it to him and caught him off guard. He didn't think I was up to the challenge. He was a little more careful about challenging me after that. But anyway, he had to put his money where his mouth was. He let me get a bike. So I went out and I got my first bike. And I remember he said, whatever you do, number one is you can never have a passenger on it.
Hold on. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you got to shut it softly, homie.
That freaking sign, dude.
Is that Rossi, Chris?
Yeah, it's Rossi. Say hi to Jeremy, Rossi.
Yeah, Rossi.
Yeah, he's the co-star. He's the one that everybody asks me when I go to the races. They're like, dude, where's Rossi at?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? Where's Rossi?
See that big sign right there? It's made out of pure metal.
Oh, that's cool.
My heart dropped when I shut the door.
So are you riding, Rossi? Do you ride?
Jeremy wants to know if you're riding yet.
I mean, yeah, I rode my friend's dirt bike and I ride bike.
I got you. You ain't got to mess with the camera. I got it. So he's got a. So real quick story on Rossi. Obviously, I named him Hayden Rossi after Nicky Hayden and Valentino.
Yeah.
We before he was born, he had a TTR 50. Got him a Strider bike before he was born. So he had a Strider bike. He had a TTR 50. Before he was born, I was showing my buddies. I was like, yeah, dude, check it out. I got my son a TTR. You know, he's going to be this absolute legend on two wheels. And, you know, the dad dream, right? Dude, here I go. Brand new bike, come ripping around the neighborhood. Forgot to spread my legs because I'm on this little 50. When I went to go make a corner, my elbow hit my knee because I didn't have my knee spread far enough. And I ran right in the side of the fence and up in the front forks on this brand new dirt bike, right? So anyway, it was fixed enough for him to ride it. You know, well, whatever it is, what it is, he's learning anyway. He rode that for a little while. And then he just never really showed like a whole lot of interest in it. And it's not something I really pushed on him, right? Because I felt like if I pushed him, he would just pull away like, okay, I don't want to do it because you want me to do it, that father-son thing, right? So we ended up I took him to a lot of Moto America races throughout his whole childhood. I mean, he's 12, he'll be 13 next month. So he's been to many races.
Actually, 20 days exactly.
20 days exactly. That's right. High five, my man. And we ended up meeting Yandel Medea and his family, and next thing I know, here comes Rossi ripping around the freaking VR on this little CRF 50. I'm like, bro, dude, like you don't do it at home, but you're doing it here because other kids are doing it there, right? Yeah. So, and then he's like, hey, I want a dirt bike for Christmas. So again, when I talk about keeping in the sport, people, I could have bought the same dirt bike I bought for my son at my local dealership down here, but I don't know nobody down there. And they just really don't care. So again, I keep it within my friends. I drove 6 hours away. Big shout out to Carnes Performance. Bought my son a dirt bike from Jason Carnes and his dealership because he's a buddy of mine. I want to support my friends in the business, right? And so he's had that out there, and we put around on it every once in a while. But again, it's nothing that he takes it too seriously right now. So I just kind of leave it open out in the air. He gets with me on the back of my RC51. I take him to school and pick him up every once in a while. And
That was last year.
that was last year. Yep. I ain't done it this year yet. Because I had my wrist
Yeah, but
problems and I couldn't ride.
I wouldn't die
I know. I'll take you. I promise. High five.
I'll
But
get
so
all the
that's
bags.
Rossi's story so far, man. Like I said, it's something
Yeah.
I don't
My name is Hayden
force
Rossi
it.
Simcoe.
Yeah.
This is my story.
That's right. This is my story. You heard it first here on the podcast. I love it.
TikToks or videos where it's like AI generated voices of these movies character, and it's like, my name is Hayden Rossi Simcoe. This is my story.
Man, I just need to give you the headphones. You sit down in the chair and just take over,
My
bro.
name is Dexter Moore.
Rossi is the star of this show for sure.
Dude, everybody always shows Rossi all the love for sure,
Yeah.
which I'm grateful for. Again, it says a lot about our beautiful circus, and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Rossi's absolutely amazing, man. So, maybe one day he'll come up to me and be like, I'm ready. I'm all in. Let's go. So we'll
What
see.
you got there?
British money.
A British money.
It's pounds.
It's British pounds. That's right. When I come back from the UK, my man. But listen, when you do shut the door and you make your exit, just shut it softly. All right. All right. Dude, he's awesome.
I want a sip of your water. You don't even got water.
Yeah, I got liquid death that's just lime flavored water.
like it.
Right?
It's good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, wait, they don't like it. I'm like, how don't you? Like, I love you too. Bye, bud. So yeah,
like I sometimes wonder what would my life have been like if I grew up like Rossi in a motorcycle home and family. And I have no regrets. I love my parents. I love the life that I had, even when I went way off course. But that's what happened. I ended up getting that bike. My dad gave me 2 rules: no passengers, no racing. Follow all the laws of the road. And within a week, I didn't know this, but he ended up behind me in his car as I was racing with a passenger on my bike. Yeah, so I had that bike for all of 1 week. A year or two later, I was able to talk my way into getting another bike, little cage 500 2-stroke Kawasaki. Had that for a little while. But then my life started going off the rails. I think we talked about this last time. I'm in recovery from addiction, and I battled with addiction from my teen years all the way into my early 30s, on and off. And during most of that time, I just couldn't keep it together enough to be able to ride, to be able to afford to ride. Certainly would have never been able to afford a racer's lifestyle. And so I kind of left the scene. I left everything that meant anything to me. So not just motorcycles, but, my family, meaningful relationships. Everything fell apart. I couldn't keep a job. I was homeless. I mean, things got really, really bad. And in January of 2003, with a little nudge from the courts, I decided to get my act together, and I went all in, and decided I would do whatever it takes to turn things around and get my life back under control. But there was that big gap. So from my late teens all the way to my early 30s. And I was about a year or so in, a year and a half. And one of my new friends that I met kind of in recovery invited me to go on a trip to Hawaii, and we went to Maui. And we didn't have any plans. I mean, we didn't have the car rental or the hotel picked out or anything, or what we were going to do. We just decided we're going to go figure it out as we go. And on the way, I remember like as we were getting ready to land, as the plane was kind of making its, getting prepared for landing, they were showing on the TV like some of the local stations, and one of them was it was a commercial for the Harley Davidson shop that rents Harleys on the island. And I remember telling my friend, I said, look, I don't know what else we're going to do, but let's rent bikes when we get there. And so we decided that would be on the top of our priority list. We ended up renting bikes. We had a blast. What happens in Maui stays in Maui, so I can't tell you all the gory details. And my girlfriend might be watching because when you're riding around on a bike in Hawaii, anything can happen. But anyway, it reignited my passion for two wheels. And as soon as I got home, I started shopping. And within the first few months, I was already up to like 3 or 4 bikes, buying them, selling them, every bike you can imagine, and I wasn't biased, right? I wasn't biased. So, sport bikes, street bikes, standard bikes, you name it, adventure bikes, whatever I could find, I wanted to ride. And, before long, I started making friends that were also riding, and, we did this kind of thing. And so, that went on for years. And I was making up for lost time on lots of different bikes. All of my riding at that point was done on the street, like really dumb, hooligan, dangerous stuff, like we do sometimes. I had to learn how to take care of my bikes and wear good gear and how to ride smart and safe, but I was also trying to ride too fast for street conditions. And eventually, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, I started going on group rides with people who also went to the track, and they started telling me, look, the way you ride, you've got something, right? You've got some speed, but you don't want to do that out here. You want to do that on a closed circuit course. Everybody's going the same direction. There's no cars, there's no trees to run into and guardrails and this kind of thing. And so that's what I did. And so it was probably maybe about 10 years ago or so, I started doing some track riding, made a whole new group of friends on the track. I remember when I started, I had to unlearn all of my bad street riding habits. And because nobody had ever taught me how to ride, I just went out and did it, tried to go as fast as I could, tried not to die along the way, and picked up so many bad habits. So I started meeting people that were teaching me how to ride, and and people were telling me, you've got something, like you've got something for speed around here. You just need to learn how to do it properly. And I remember showing up to my first year of going to track days. I got the hooptiest bike I could get, thinking, I'm going to toss it down the road. Why not get a cheap bike? And I quickly learned that you're more likely to crash a cheap bike than a bike that is, high quality, set up properly, good equipment, good tires, good suspension, and that kind of thing. And I think I crashed every other track day for the first year, and I was going a lot. And so I was my learning curve was steep, but I really loved it. And and I've told people before that I've tried to learn all kinds of things, musical instruments, and other kinds of things that really take some time, to an investment of time and effort to really get good at. And I haven't stuck with really any of them except motorcycle riding. And I tell people it's because you're having fun even when you suck. Like even when you don't know what you're doing, you're having a good time. You're meeting great people, and that was really true. And so I stuck with it and started, investing money in better equipment, both for what I wore and what I rode on, and really trying to be a student of the sport, learning everything that I could, and I was getting quick and having a lot of fun, and I had my little core group of friends. And I think it was in early 2018 or so, a bunch of my friends decided to sign up to get their novice license in our local club, AFM, the American Federation of Motorcyclists. And I said, well, that's good for you. I'm still just going to kind of keep it low key and have fun at these track days. And I remember asking them, I said, so, we got another track day coming up in a week or a couple of weeks or whatever. Will I see you guys there? And they told me, they said, we can't do track days anymore. We can't afford it. We're racing now. Like all our money goes into racing. And so I remember thinking, well, so you're saying the only way that I get to ride with you anymore is if I start racing. And they said yes. And so that was what made me decide to try racing. And so I remember I signed up to get my I went to the new racer school, and got my pre-license, but you have to finish a race. And that was in late 2018. I had no idea what I was doing. I remember we didn't even have time to do practice starts. So I had not done anything on the track other than track day stuff before my very first race. And I remember they had us gridded up for a clubman, like the novice race that you need to do if you're brand new, and also you need to complete at least one of them for your license to be official. And I remember sitting on the grid having no idea what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what the boards and the flags and everything, we don't have the lights on, lights out. It was 2 board, 1 board, green flag.
Yeah.
And I remember watching everybody else on the grid who I figured they all knew what they were doing, certainly better than me. Let me just see if I could just follow their lead. And so I remember trying to watch them and watch the tower at the same time. And when the green flag dropped and everybody twisted the throttle, so did I. And I remember I used to be so good at launching. I don't know where that went, but anyway, I remember splitting the 2 rows in front of me. And this was at Sonoma Raceway. And if you've never been there, the first turn, it's a short front straight, and then it's a kind of sweeping uphill left turn. And there must have been, I don't know, 20, 25 bikes on the grid. And because I was brand new and, they gridded me somewhere toward the back. But by the time we hit turn 1, I was somewhere in the middle of the pack. And I remember the thrill of taking off on that green flag, surrounded by a group of bikes, and then everybody hitting that first turn together, inches from one another, and nobody crashing. And like I said, I'm a recovering drug addict. And so I know what the rush of a good drug feels like. That first launch, that first race was a better rush than I'd ever experienced in my life from any drug. It was absolutely the best. And like I said, I only decided to do this to hang out with my friends, and I ended up hooked on that first lap. And I think it was the only race. I did 1 or 2 races that day, and it was a Saturday on a weekend of racing. And I went back to my pit, started packing things up, and somebody came by my pit who I'd met, I think, earlier that day. And they said, "What are you packing up for? Where are you going?" I said, I've done my races. I'm going home. They're like, "It's Saturday. The races are tomorrow." I said, "What you did was just this little kind of like, Saturday fun day. We do the new guys and the old guys," because I think they had the Formula 40 and Formula 50 for the older guys. And I didn't know anything about that. And so that was like the second to last race of that season of 2018. And so I signed up properly for the final round and did a whole bunch of races, ended up getting second place in one of them. And that was the next time I got hooked. Was, wow, like I could actually be competitive and I could get, awarded something. And like I said, I grew up in a family where, I played Little League and stuff like that, but I wasn't really, like a lot of my friends, they were out, doing competitions where they were, winning trophies and, this kind of thing. And that just really wasn't part of my experience as a kid. And so here I am in my mid to late 40s, discovering this stuff for the first time and feeling like a kid, like feeling like an absolute kid, racing against kids that were like a half, maybe a third of my age, and just having a blast. But I was absolutely hooked. I came back the next season in 2019 in my full novice season. I made every single race round, went to every track day I could go to get as much practice, took home 4 championships that first year and was just absolutely hooked. And it's been like that ever since. And every year I've set my sights on something more. Right. And I remember at the end of that first novice year, and, like probably at a lot of clubs, if you win a championship, you're required to go up to expert the following year, but you could petition the club, right? If you have a good reason to stay back and sandbag a little. And I remember talking to somebody that I raced with all that season about, whether I should stay back a year or if I should move up to expert. And he asked me, he said, "Well, what are you out here to do? Like, are you out here to collect a bunch of cheap plastic trophies, or are you out here to get faster?" And I told him, "No, I want to get faster." He said, "Then you got to race against faster racers. Like that's the formula, right? Like you can't spend every race in front. You got to spend races chasing the fast guys. So, that made all the sense in the world to me. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And and my Moto America story is just the last couple of years. And it's the same thing. People say, people ask me, why do you do it? Like I said, it wasn't a childhood dream. I mean, I wanted to ride motorcycles ever since I can remember. But the idea of racing in a national professional championship wasn't something that I grew up fantasizing about. It was something that I discovered because it was the next level. It was like the next thing. Like, what else have you got?
It was the next drug.
So fun, and what else have you got? Like, how do I told you I like challenges. So what's that next challenge? And of course, I know I'm going to find my limit eventually, probably soon, but it hasn't happened yet.
I love it, man. It's an amazing story. There's definitely some key points of this. I definitely want to talk about it. But first, I want to get to this comment. My good buddy, Kevin Hines. What is up, my man? As always, thanks for so much for all the love and support and the hospitality at the Moto America races. He works for Moto America. This is Jeremy's a good dude right there. Yes, absolutely is.
Right on, Kevin. Thank you, brother.
One thing I want to touch base on, I've never talked about this on my podcast, me personally, is addiction, man. I know where you're coming for that. I hurt my back, man. I've never said this before publicly, but I hurt my back at my job. This has been when me and my wife first got together. So this is 06, 07. And I severely tore ligaments in my back. I mean, I was so much so to where I had to sleep on the floor and pee in a bedpan. So of course, I'm pain pills, and they take you off. I was so addicted to them. I'm like, dude, if you don't give me pain, I'm gonna go to the street. Like, I have no choice, right? Went to the street. My wife now was like, hey, you really have an issue. You need to stop doing what you're doing, right? But at the time, I didn't realize. I lied, right? I did kind of realize I had a problem, but it was such an addiction. It was hard to wean myself off of it, man, without the love and support for my wife. Big shout out to Nikki, especially just everything in life. I don't know if I'd have made it through that, dude. It was a very difficult point in my lifetime. It really was. So much so to when you're in that cloudy area, that's all you think about is your next fix and your next pills and this and that, right? To so much so to where, I still love motorcycles, but it wasn't my first priority anymore. It was chasing that next high, right? Just big congratulations, Jeremy. Trust me, I've been there, dude. It's not fun. I've never talked about it really publicly on my podcast before. I have no shame in it. I don't. It's a period that I went through in my lifetime, and I know there's a lot of people out there battling whatever it is, but you can do it. You can get over that, and I'm proof, and Jeremy's proof of it, right? So it all also comes from, I finally got so tired of it. I wanted to make that change. It wasn't the people around me that talking to me. I hear it all the time, but I had to finally make that point to say, okay, enough's enough. Whatever. I'll be sick for 2 weeks, whatever it takes. Let's fucking do it. Let's get it done with and move on. So congratulations, man. It's a big task, man. It's probably the most difficult battle. I want to say mentally and physically that I've ever done, man. No bullshit. It's no joke, man. So if anybody's out there listening to this, man, if you ever need to talk, please hit me up. I'm always here for you, and I'm sure Jeremy is too as well. So
that's what we're all about. We want to normalize these conversations, right? We know that there's and in our motorcycle community, the prevalence, the rates of people struggling with both mental health and substance use problems is greater than out there in the general public. And it's not that motorcycles cause it. It's that a lot of us find that our passion for motorcycles and the connections we make in the community are incredibly therapeutic, right? That's why we call it throttle therapy. Yeah. But, that's what I've been all about. We talked about it, last time on your podcast, that's what Remix is all about, is creating a space where we can come together and just bring our most authentic selves, all the baggage that we bring into this, and also smash those stereotypes. Like if I were to tell you the gory details of what I was doing before I turned things around, you probably wouldn't believe it just looking at me today and the life that I have today and the people that I have around me today and what I've accomplished. But that's that's exactly what smashing those stereotypes is all about, is for people like you and me to come out and say, hey, look, I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it either.
Facts. I mean, yeah, honestly, Jeremy, it took me a long time to even talk about it, even
Yeah.
to my mom and my dad and my brother and much less anybody else, right? But once I guess, honestly, and this is just me personally, once I opened up to myself, it made it easier for me to approach my loved ones and talk about the shit that I'm like, dude, I'm fucking struggling, dude. Like you guys have no idea. I spend all my money on these fucking pills, like every fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's something I'm not proud of, but again, at the same time, I feel like if I talk about it, I'll help other people out in their story, just like Remix, right?
Yes, sir.
It's healthy to talk about. It really is, and to have people like you and the whole program is imperative, not just in our sport, in life in general, right? Because everybody struggles with whatever it is every day. Don't be ashamed of it. I don't want. Life is not easy, right? But it's easier when you got people around you that really love and believe in you, right? And then once you start believing yourself, then your eyes really open up to the world, and you're more acceptable to open up and talk about your feelings. And man, it felt like the whole weight of the world just come off my shoulders when I
Yes, sir.
started
Yes.
to talk about it. And then I was proud of myself because I realized that was my first step of recovery, was talking about the struggles I was fucking having, and not so much as suicidal thoughts, just everything else in between, like, just all the negative, whatever negative I could think of. That's all I focused on, right?
Yeah.
Nothing positive. Even though I had everybody around me positive, you got this shield up when you're in this addiction. It's hard to penetrate that shield because you don't let nobody in, because
Right.
they don't want to see how ugly you really are on the inside, because you're scared of yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So again, I ain't got no shame. I've never, spoke about this on my podcast before, but why not now?
Yes.
It's real.
That's powerful.
It is. It very is, and I get goosebumps right now just talking about it, because listen, the struggle's real. It was not easy for me, but I made it because I was determined to do it. And at the end of the day, my dad told me this when I was little, in order to truly love somebody, you got to first love yourself. And that's a fact, right?
That's true.
No matter what it is, it's a fact. So once I accepted that I was an addict, right? Because nobody wants to say I'm an addict. I mean, that just sounds bad. But I was. But once I accepted that and I started talking about it, and I wanted to make that full. It's just like telling somebody they smoke, dude, that's going to kill you eventually, right? But no matter how much you tell them to quit smoking cigarettes, they're not going to stop until they're ready to stop. Period. And you know that, Jeremy, just as well as I do, right? So
yeah, let me comment on this, because I'm feeling so like honored right now that you're sharing this with me and with your audience on the podcast with me. This is really what my journey has become, right? I'd like to say this has always been the case, but it's really over the last few years that my journey as a motorcycle racer, especially taking it to the national stage in Moto America, has been about creating a space where people feel empowered to tell their story without shame. And I'm not just talking about other people who have already kind of fixed the problem and are in recovery or whatever, even people in the problem still struggling, and we'll be at our races all over the country, and like during the fan walk, people come up and I'm signing, autographs here and there, whatever, and talking about what we do, not just what I'm doing on the track, but what we do to create the space. And people feel it's as if they have this like urge to talk about it, to tell somebody. And so they start opening up, and we're having these conversations right there in the pit, in the paddock, about their own personal struggles, loved ones and family members, whether it's addiction, mental health stuff, suicide, you name it. And it's so powerful. And like I said, some of them are in it, like right then and there, and they just need somebody to talk to. And I think that's been, one of the most powerful and rewarding parts of the journey, especially over the last few years. But, you made that comment, nobody wants to admit it. And that's because of the stigma.
Yeah.
That's because the stigma is part of this social programming that has convinced us that we're supposed to be ashamed about what we've been through, what we've lived through or survived or whatever. And I just don't believe that. And I want to dispel that myth, and I'm willing to take the first step, because when I do that, other people come out and they join me, just like you just did. And so I want to thank you. I'm very honored by, being one of the first to have you share that so publicly.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate that. Thank you for joining the cause.
It's something too important to talk about. And honestly, I've been thinking about it for a long time. I just didn't. There's always a time and a place to talk about it and bring it up to people, right? And talking with you and Remix Racing, because that's what you do. Why not bring it out publicly right now and let everybody know, dude? I'm just normal like everybody else. I've got struggles just like everybody's got struggles, right? And it's not easy. And back when you think about it, Jeremy, it's like, growing up, you're like, I'll never be that alcoholic. I'll never be that pillhead. I'll never be this, or I'll never be that. Right. And the next thing you know, it takes over your life without you even realizing the dark hole you just went down. And the next thing you know, you're on this, it seems like forever eternal struggle bus, dude. And it does, dude. It feels like I'm just in this hole, and I so badly just want to scream to the world, but I feel like inside when I'm screaming, nobody's listening, if that makes sense, right? But that's me screaming to myself, trying to convince myself, like, dude, dumbass, you got a fucking problem. Like, you really need to take care of this, right? Because we all have that mentally inside of us when we're going through it. I don't know about you personally, but I always had that little voice that said, you're fucking up. Like, right? But we push it back. Because at the time, we just want that whatever fix is, right? We want that warmth, adrenaline, whatever it is. It's yeah, man. I solely believe about talking about it, man. It's a powerful thing when you open up to people, right? And you're right. The stigma that comes to it, saying, "Oh, well, I'm gonna be X, Y, and Z," and people are gonna put me. That's something I was afraid of too. They were gonna put me in that category. I want to be that category. I'm not that. I'm not this category. Oh, Simcoe, you are that category. You're in the middle of it, dude. Just admit it. Talk about it. Open up the door. Walk out of that box and live your life, right?
Yeah.
But the whole part of really wanting to open up to somebody again was I was so afraid to be put in this certain box that I didn't want nothing to do with, right?
Yeah.
And I knew if I did, well, at least I thought that if I did and I voiced my opinion, I would automatically be shoved in that box, put in the room, padlock door on, and be like, okay, well, instead of this, we're going to give you this type of medicine to help you wean off. I didn't want none of that. When I made my mind up, that was it. Like, that's why I'm so advocate to this day with Tylenol, even aspirin. Like, my wrist surgery, they gave me pain pills, right? I told my wife, I said, I don't want none. So much so to where I'd wake up in the middle of the night crying because my shit was throbbing so bad. So she would obviously crush one up, put it in my drink, and force me to drink it. That's how bad, dude. Seriously, like I don't mess with it, right? So I'd rather just suffer mentally and physically than, because I know that dark road. And it's very easy probably to get back to that road, right? It's just a simple turn of the knob and open the door, and next thing you know, you're on that slide again. So
but the thing is that what we can do is we can put a lot of distance between us and going backwards, falling back onto that road, right? Like we build a life worth protecting, right? We build relationships that matter more to us than anything we could have had, when we were in that dark place, that we just can't imagine risking, putting at risk. And I really think that's it. My life is far from perfect, but man, I've got some of the best quality people in my life. And I have a passion that I would do just about anything for. And even though it sometimes tries to kill me also, it just makes my life so much better and is given me so many opportunities to do amazing things and meet incredible people. But that little box that you're talking about that we're worried that people will put us in, that's the stereotype. Just coincidentally, I was asked to be a keynote speaker at this event recently. It was a fundraising gala for this mental health organization. It was on men's mental health. And the whole idea was, so men and women are both equally likely to have mental health problems. we have different kinds of problems categorically, but equally likely to have mental health problems. Men are much less likely to ask for or seek help. So we're underrepresented in places like therapy and treatment programs, but we're about 4 times as likely as women to die by suicide. And the whole reason is being afraid to ask for help, because if you ask for help, people are going to think differently of you and treat you differently and that kind of thing. And so, I started the conversation as I was speaking at this event about how, all of us are more than one thing. And so I introduced myself as a person who is living with mental health conditions. I mean, that's just the truth. It's not just the addiction, but it's all the stuff that was there before I started using, and it's still stuff that I have to live with and manage every day since I stopped. And I said, if you want to know what the stereotype looks like, type mentally ill man into Google and see what images come back. And if any of your viewers are curious, just pull open another window, type mentally ill man into Google and look at those. And you actually described one of them. I think the first one that comes back is this guy in a straight jacket, like a padded room and that kind of thing. And I'm like, look at me. I don't show up in any of those pictures, but I am also a person who's got mental health challenges, right? But I'm more than that, right? I'm also a professional. I am a family man. I'm a son and a brother and a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a significant other. Sorry, ladies. And I'm a best friend. But I'm also a professional motorcycle racer. I'm a published author. Like, I'm all of these things. And I also have a history with addiction, and I live with mental health challenges. And so you can't fit me into that box. Like, I won't fit neatly, right? And neither will you, right? And so when we talk about it in a way that's open and candid and authentic, we no longer fit in that box. And that's what I mean when I say smashing stereotypes. I'm seeing some of these comments, and there's
They're great.
Members of our community that
Yeah,
can relate.
I love it.
And each of us are more than one thing, but we're a combination of different things, right? That's what makes us interesting and unique. So don't judge me by the one thing you learn about me or the one thing you see. Get to know me. Let me get to know you. And that's how we also learn empathy and forgiveness and acceptance, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but that's been part of my journey, not just as a human being, but over the last few years, I've really blended that with my racing, and Racing for Moto America has given me an opportunity to carry that message all over the country. And it's a message that's resonated not just with the fans, the spectators who come to the events, but a lot of people like you have said, hey, man, we got to tell people about this. This is not Jeremy's. I mean, you called this Jeremy's journey or whatever. This is our journey. Yeah. This is our collective, the journey of our community, right? And so it's gotten some good attention, and racing on that national stage has brought that attention to a much larger audience, which is so powerful. And we're building a coalition. I mean, there are people from every corner that have come out and said, me too. Like, I'm right there with you. And and a lot of them are coming from our racing and motorcycle community. But it's even spread beyond that. And that's really cool. So I'm really stoked about that. And it keeps me excited. The success on the racetrack keeps me going. I love a good challenge. But all of the love and support that we've got for that message that we're bringing with us has also been just incredibly heartwarming and inspiring.
It's a powerful message.
For sure.
Dude, it really is. And I hope this conversation that me and you're having, which is a fucking legit conversation. I love this conversation. I hope those that are listening to this now, or that's going to listen to this later on, it touches you in a certain, in a certain way, to feel free to seriously reach out to me. Let's have that conversation. I know I wouldn't be here if I didn't open up to myself first and foremost. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a very powerful thing to come clean to yourself and admit that you have a problem. Yeah, I still struggle with shit mentally. I mean, everybody does, right? Life's not an easy journey, but you can make it easier on yourself by changing the way you think about approach just life in general. And that's, it took me a long time to get to where I am, Jeremy, with all that positiveness and love and all that shit I spread out every day, man. It took me a while to get to where I am, and I love the man that I am today versus the one I was 10 years ago, 110%, but it all started for me right here, wanting to make that change, also right here in my heart to make me a better man, not just for me, but for my parents too as well. And
Yes,
and
sir.
hopefully inspire somebody else that might be struggling with whatever it is they're struggling with to come out and say, "Hey, Simcoe, can we talk? I have an issue," and help them through it too as well. I do want to get to a couple of these comments real quick because they're really good. We got Paul McKee, the dudes, two legends right here. Much love, my brothers. You too, Paul, always. And then Kevin, normalize the conversation, dude. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
My good buddy Kenny, that's great. Thanks for being real, guys. Love it, man. Appreciate it. Yep. And then Jeff says 100%. I was a drug addict for 5 years. It was a hard thing to overcome, but you have to want to stop first. It's absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, Jeff.
They always say, that's the first step is admitting that you have an issue, right? And it's, I don't know about you, but it's easier said than done, especially to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you might want to tell somebody and you might blurt it out nonchalantly, kind of quietly under your breath, like, man, that kind of felt good to kind of say it kind of loud. But until you really, make that mental personal journey step that this is a door I definitely want to walk through and I need help.
Yeah.
And I need help from everybody, not just one person. I need everybody love and support on this. So yeah, man, it's very powerful thing, man. Dude, my man K-Dub, a lot of people have been saved by motorcycles. I was testing CZ mouthfeel before I got into motorcycles. It cured me. Yeah, man. It's for sure. Self-deception is the easiest art to master.
No doubt. Yes.
Great point, man. That's absolutely, man. It's yeah. And then Ben, awesome job, brother. Appreciate it, Ben. Thanks for all the love and support, man. But yeah, it's powerful, man. And again, for what you're doing, dude, with the whole remix thing and the whole raid racing and intertwining it together and saying that it's okay publicly for everybody to see, it's nothing but love and support, bro. You definitely got me in 100%. I love it, dude. I wish we had this a long time ago, especially when I was in my deepest, darkest stage, even going to the track and going to Moto America races or AMA back in the day or whatever. If they had somebody like you in that program out there, think about how I think it'd be easier for me to approach them and open up before I made that decision myself to do it, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I could relate to you more than I could to my friends because they weren't into motorcycles. Like I don't barely met anybody that's been in them, except for, of course, you and all my friends on here, but like just been so deeply in love with the sport. That's all I think about.
Yeah.
Right? Until you got addicted to whatever it is you're addicted to. And then all that kind of gets pushed in the background. And yeah. And then you realize how much you miss it till you come back to that light. So
right.
Yeah. One question I did have for you real quick, man, is, I often talk to my buddies about, that journey, what it took from club racing to Moto America, because it's an absolute change, right? It's like going from laid back situation. Oh, I hear the last call. I still got about a couple minutes to get out there too. I'm in Moto America. Shit, I got literally 15, 20 minutes. I got to take my Dunlop tires. I got to get the stickers. I got to do this. I got to be out here. I got to blah, blah, blah. So it's completely different. How did that transition suit you? Was that something easy for you to
No way. I was really lucky. I had really good people around me. Shayna, my girlfriend, who's also our team captain, she's been in the motorcycle life since she was little, and she raised a couple racers, including one that's already raced Moto America, another one that probably will before long. So she had been in the scene. And then Mike Pond was our good dude, and he was my crew chief for my first Moto America race, and he obviously knew his way around the paddock. But you make such a good point. I had somebody ask me recently. He said, "Is going to Moto America the same as going from novice to expert in the club?" And I said, "Not at all. It's a whole nother level. The level of professionalism and prestige and eyes on you, TV cameras on you, the level of competition. I'm I do pretty good for myself out there. You know, I score some points. I'm in the middle of the pack, but I'm a privateer and I'm racing against guys who do this for a living with full factory support. You know, they got bikes that are worth more than I make in a year, but I have to work a job, a day job, and side jobs just to be able to pay for the racing. And it's a whole nother level. But like I said, I love a good challenge, and I felt like, you know, it was the next thing on my to-do list, my bucket list. And I was running out of time. I was already past 50 because my first Moto America race was in 24, right? So it was just last year. And it was decided to jump into Super Sport. So one of the premier classes at Laguna Seca, which is, you know, on the Moto America calendar. It's my home round, my home track. And I spent, I don't know, 6 to 9 months prepping, you know, the bike, practicing, getting my team. Harm Jansen, maybe some of your listeners know, a friend of mine was my coach. He also introduced me to Mike. So, you know, I made sacrifices, lots of sacrifices, time, money, you name it, sleep.
Facts. Sleep is the one.
Yeah.
Listen, real quick, Jeremy, that's something people don't realize real quick. Two things real quick. Mike Pond, a big shout out to Mike. Had him on my podcast. If you guys missed it, Tune Racing, absolute proper mega legend of the sport. He's the one that he reached out to me. He was like, dude, I got this guy named Jeremy, dude. He's racing for me. You need to get him on your podcast. So he's the one that I was like, bro, done. I'm going to message him right now. And that's when I ended up, messaging you, man. The other thing you was just saying, the schedule at Moto America, but also working a job and everything in the sleep, man. That's something that people don't realize, you know, when you, especially when you're traveling to the West Coast rounds, right? Even on the East Coast round, let's say I'm leaving Wednesday. I show up Thursday or Wednesday night, set up the pit, blah, 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 talk, conversate, get all this shit done, right? Weekend comes around Sunday. As soon as my last stint, I'm out there on the track. My team is helping pack shit up already. And then I got to hit the road. I might have a 12, 14 hour drive home. Right. So I'm driving all night after busting my ass all weekend on Sunday just to make it home to go to work on Monday. And I ain't slept for 30 something hours. Right. So that sleep is 100% facts, my friend. So that's something a lot of people don't know is we don't get a lot of sleep.
It's everything. Yeah.
It's everything.
You got to take care of yourself in a whole different way, physically, mentally. It's just a whole nother level. And then you're going to be on the big stage. And, you know, so I got everything together. I had the right team, right people around me, and we're ready for the big one. And as far as I know at this point, I'm just going to do one weekend and check it off my list and then go back to club racing. Like I said, every time I hit that next level, I get a new rush. I'm like, I need more. But anyway, so everything was set up. And then a few days before that weekend, I came down with some kind of cold, maybe COVID or something, but it was bad, like really, really bad. And so I'm just showing up, trying to do the best I can. And, you know, one of the things, you know, I think we all do as motorcycle riders and especially as racers and definitely at the pro level is you have to ride around everything, every obstacle, anything that goes wrong on your bike, your body, your head, whatever, you have to ride around it. Nobody's going to wait for you. Nobody's going to slow down for you. There's no handicap in racing. You just got to ride around it. And so I'm crazy sick, like just, you know, and doing my best. I get out on Friday and I lay down a qualifying time. Friday night, I was up half the night with like shaking and shivering. I was so sick, having trouble breathing. Show up the next morning, you know, and again, it's not that people didn't care, but what are you going to do about it? Like, they're not going to like hold the races until you feel better. You know, take 2 of these and we'll try again tomorrow morning.
We'll give you a doctor's note on this round, Jeremy. Yeah.
So, you know, so I show up and I get in that first race. And I remember I had a team. I think we had 8 or 10 people on our team, you know, and Shayna owns Truth Be Told Apparel. So she had us fitted looking as professional as any of the factory teams. All our pit shirts and hats and gear and umbrellas, you name it. We look so sharp. And, you know, you're only supposed to have a couple people on the grid with you. And of course I'm toward the back of the grid, But they ended up coming by and kicking off half my team. But before they did that, we took pictures and we just soaked it in. Like, here we are. We're at Moto America. We're on the grid. We had friends who showed up that weekend that didn't make it. I think they had the high density. We had so many people sign up that they had to, make sure that there was, some limit. You had to be fast enough to make the grid. And so we were so grateful for being in that place, in that moment. And everybody on my team, they have their own story. I'm not going to tell anybody else's story for them, but let's just say I'm not the only one with lived experience on our team, what we had to survive and overcome to get there. And we just soaked it in. We were so grateful. There were so many hugs and prayers and everything. I think on that first day, my son and my granddaughter showed up as I was on the grid. We were worried they were going to miss it. My dad was there. We had family and friends because it's, again, our local place. And it was just the most amazing thing. And I went out and I raced and I did great. I came back the next day, still even sicker, could barely breathe in my suit. These are, full length, feature length races. And I raced through it, through being as sick as I was. And I remember during the cool down laps, you go to these club races, these regional races, and the spectators are the other riders and their teams and a couple family and friends or whatever. You're at the big national stage and you've got tens of thousands of live spectators and they're cheering for all of us, whether you're at the front and everybody knows your name or you're somewhere in the middle or in the back and they've never heard of you before. They come out, they stand up and they cheer. I think a lot of people know what it takes and that it's not just those riders out there. It's like that team of 8 or 10, again, there were so many. They were all out there with me. And I remember just clowning, going around, taking my time on that cool down lap like I had just won the championship at the MotoGP level or something. Like I was waving to everybody and it was just like the biggest thing. And I loved it. It was really amazing. Yeah. And then I was just hooked. So that was my first Moto America experience. And for anybody who's never done it, but has done some club racing, if you think you got what it takes, come try it. It's a whole nother level. I got to say it's among the best and most memorable experiences that I've ever had. And like I said, at my age, I had to do a bunch of extra stuff to be eligible after 50. You got to go get all this extra testing. I think 55 is when you age out if you haven't already started racing. And I knew, man, I wanted to see if I could pull it off. And I had a young racer ask me, with all the stress and everything that went into prepping for this, all the planning and everything else, ups and downs, all the adversity that we had to overcome. And a young racer asked me, so why are you doing it? And I said, it's because I think I can. Right? I think I can. It's the next level. And if you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone, how are you going to grow your comfort zone?
You're not.
And you're not. Yeah. You're not. You have to be willing to take a risk. And I said, I got the right people around me, right? Because you have to have the right team. I got the right people around me. I got the right, and it's not just the team that's in the pit. It's the team of friends and family and loved ones cheering me on, believing in me, telling me that whether I make the grid or not, they're still going to love me. I don't know how I would have lived with that, but I had people telling me they're going to love me no matter what. But it's just the most amazing experience. And so, yeah, last year we decided to shift gears and try the Super Hooligan class. And I don't know if I had told you this story from last time, but it was in the off season and I was thinking about it. Like I was thinking, I really dig this class. I really love the bikes. I love the racing. I love the whole kind of genre, the whole culture. And I reached out to our friend Hawk Mazzata, who I think he's been on your show. And I asked him, I said, Hawk, I'm thinking about trying out Super Hooligans. What do you think? And he just got so excited. He's like, dude, yes, you should do it. And, he was moving from an FTR to an MT-09. And he said, you should join me, go grab that Yamaha. And so I did, and did a little training with him. He runs a school, Mazzata Moto Camp. And so did a little training with him. And then we missed the first round last year. So we missed Daytona, but we decided to do the final 4 rounds. It was a 5-round season, starting with Road Atlanta and then Ridge and Laguna and Mid-Ohio. And I had, out of those 4 tracks, I'd only ever been at Mid-Ohio. And I'm sorry, at Laguna. I had never been to the other 3 tracks, never even been to the Ridge, even though it's a West Coast track. So I had to figure out how to, and like I think I mentioned earlier, at Moto America, nobody's waiting for you. And nobody's waiting for you. You don't get a full track day worth of practice on the Friday, right? You have to get up to speed now. Like now. You go out on that first lap like they just like lights out.
Like it's your last lap. Like I got to get it in.
Last lap, and you're fighting for that last points position, whatever. And and that's another big difference. And so Bryce Cornbow from BPR built my bike. Big shout out to him, man. If out here on the West Coast, I've been to different builders. I'm not going to name names. I'm just going to say that I've been to different builders. I get the fastest bikes with the best support, the best service, and the best attention to detail from Bryce, hands down. And he built a rocket. Right now it's at his shop getting upgraded for next season. And had the right team with me. Built a new team around me. Mike had some other stuff he needed to tend to. So Carbon, Paul was on my team. Paul, who's watching this episode tonight. Like I said, my girlfriend Shayna was our team captain all season. Best friend of mine who lives out on the East Coast. Sam also joined us. Denver Wells, who's one of our team members, came out. Haley Makinson, Shayna's daughter, who's a racer and who's probably going to be on a Moto America grid before too long. She was also on the team. Andy from Ohio helped us out a lot all season, but especially for our Mid-Ohio round. And it's just been this incredible journey. And, we started this season, hoping we would make the grid. That's how you start. When you step up, you're just hoping you make the grid. I've got so many friends who've come out and they've thrown their name in the hat multiple rounds and they still haven't made the grid yet. And you got to be fast enough to share the grid with those guys that are at the top of their game, that are doing it for a living. You got to be fast enough to share the grid with them. And so we came out at the beginning of the season with a new style of bike on tracks I had never been on. But again, I had the right equipment. I had the right team, and just hope to make the grid. And our first round of this season for us was at Road Atlanta. I saw you there. It was good to see you, my brother. And just wondering if we make the grid. We made the grid comfortably. Ended up, kind of mid-pack on the grid and in the races. Scored our first points that weekend. Because that's the next thing. Make the grid. The next thing is points. So at each race, it was really about what's next, right? And we had this amazing season on track. And again, the whole team enjoyed the success because the whole team was responsible for it. But in addition to what we were doing on the track, making our sponsors proud, which is really important because this is a very expensive sport. And by the way, just a little tip to anybody getting started. If a sponsor is investing in your success, your job is to invest in their success, right? That's what I see you promoting people all the time on your podcast. And it's supposed to be a partnership, right? I'm not looking for handouts. You're doing this for me. What can I do for you? And so that was a big deal. But also because we were doing so well, because the team was putting me on the grid and giving me an opportunity to fight for some decent positions, it was also giving us an opportunity to bring our nonprofit, bring the Remix Racing Project into the spotlight. And so for that, I'm like eternally grateful. And, this year, our plan is to do all 6 rounds. I'm not going to miss Daytona this year. And, and people ask me, they say, when does the season start? Like, what time next year is this? And I'm like, no, the season already started.
Now, right
Season
now.
started, yeah. And, Moto America published their calendar last month. I think it's been out for 5 or 6 weeks. Yep. And, technically there was some prepping going on even before that. But once that schedule is out and it hits your calendar, the wheels hit the road and we're in full preparation mode, everything. And, I told you I got injured a few weeks ago. And so trying to do what I can to stay healthy. But as soon as I'm able to get back to, full race fit, we don't wait till February to get ready for that race in March. It's started. It's all year round. So anyway, yeah, we're looking forward to that. And, bigger, better, faster, more of these candid conversations, carrying the message, more promotion, exposure of our nonprofit and how we can make an impact on people's lives, both in the motorcycle racing community and beyond. And, this is a call to action for all the people listening now, people maybe who follow up and watch, or people, after it's recorded, or who run into us in the paddock or see us on social media, join the coalition, right? The bigger our coalition, the bigger the impact we make. And if you're willing to take the lead or follow my lead, other people will follow, and we'll grow the community. So all of this has been a journey of two paths kind of converging. One is the racing. One is, building this coalition of people who are trying to fight mental health and addiction stigma, create a brave space for us to have these conversations and connect with one another for whatever recovery looks like for each of us. And when those two things converged a couple of years ago, it's been amazing. It's been really awesome.
I love it, man. Listen, the journey, the story, everything you stand behind in the whole team. It's absolutely amazing. Again, I wish I had that when I was going through my addiction, somebody like you around, because I'd have called you crying, dude, I just need to jump on a plane, come get a hug and hang out, and let's get through this together. Right. But what you're doing is absolutely amazing. You're right. First time we actually met was at Road Atlanta. It was absolutely proper mega to follow me. Matter of fact, from the off the top of my dome, I was standing. I think I was talking to somebody, and you had come up behind me, and on your scooter. And yeah, it was nothing but hugs always, right? And then Ohio, I seen you again at Ohio. We got to spend, my goal and visions every time I come to the track is to at least spend 5 minutes with all my friends, right? That's basically all I get with all you at the track, because you guys are so busy, right? And I understand that, but that 5 minutes, I get that hug, I get that eye to eye contact, I get that smile, I get that conversation, means that's the whole journey was worth it to me right there at that point, right? But I was a lollipop guy, and I'm screaming out to you while you're on the starting grid, and I was like, "Let's go, Remix Racing! Let's go!"
Right. That was at Mid Ohio, actually.
Yeah, that was at Mid Ohio. Yeah, dude, you were
yeah.
you're right there. I'm like, "Let's go, Remix Racing! Let's go!" I'm holding the lollipop. Let's go! Yeah, man, I love it. That's one of the greatest satisfactions for me, is showing up and supporting all my friends that race at the track. Man, there's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah.
So 2025, man, you had an amazing season. 2026 is fast approaching, man. Dude, 2025 went by like this, right?
Yeah.
But this year at Daytona, it's going to be, your first time in the Super Hooligan. Now it's a points playing race, right? So
yeah, well, and it was last year. The 200 is not, but for Super Hooligan, it's the first round, and it's going to be another new track for me. I'm super stoked about it. Everybody says you got to do it. We're going to try to show up a little early, get a little bit of bike week before the races start. But, we've also got some family and friends out on that side of the country that are hopefully going to come out and join us and support us, or hang out and have some fun with us. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Yeah. And, this, for anybody who's been paying attention, this is the Super Hooligan National Championship is by far the most popular class for riders. We hope that the spectators, the fans, love it. We hear feedback all the time, get the cameras off those guys in front. Everybody knows those Pan Am guys, those factory support. Let's watch some of those battles going on in the mid pack and in the back. That's really where the fun and the action is. I think the whole thing is fun, but I can tell you that we've had the deepest grids of any class. We've had the most entrants all season long. Roland Sands has put together one heck of a program, and now with all the extra attention that Arch is bringing, the Keanu Reeves team bringing to the paddock, all these fantastic champions and former champions who are stepping into the class, has really brought it a lot of notoriety. But the nice thing is that it's really grown in popularity, and it's gotten a lot more competitive. we finished 18th in the championship out of, I think, 46 riders in 2025. Super proud of that. Like I said, starting off the year, we had no idea what to expect, and we feel like we were really competitive and were able to, earn some good success. This year, I have no idea what to expect. I want to be faster. I want to be more competitive, but I also expect the grid to just keep getting deeper and deeper, more and more talent. We're attracting lots of talent. There's always somebody faster, right? But that's good. Keep putting them in front of me so I have somebody to chase, challenge myself so I can get faster. And that's really what my objective is on track for this year. And then also to keep, like I said, getting the message out there and keep having these kind of conversations with as many people as we can. I've wanted to be on your podcast since we first met. I'm so glad and honored to have this opportunity. I'm not going to name the others, but I've had the opportunity this last year. Me and Shayna and also her daughter have had the opportunity to be interviewed on other podcasts. Been interviewed. Shayna was interviewed by Mike on the Mic when we were in Ridge, so she got some live TV cameo time. We've had some other interviews. Nate, who works with Roland Sands, Roland had him do an interview with me that got some good traction on social media, telling the same story that I'm telling you. It's desperately needed, right? Like, and I'm not the only ambassador of the message. Like I said, if I can keep having opportunities to come out and tell this story, a lot of other people are coming out and joining me, which is so great. We create a chorus of this message, and so it's been great. So we want to do more of that, and you've been a big part of that, and really I got to tell you how much I appreciate that.
Listen, dude, me and you gonna sit down and talk about remix until we can't talk about remix racing anymore, for sure. And the whole mental thing, dude. Like I said, I want to obviously this year, 2026. I'm gonna follow your whole. I followed you before, but we're gonna do a lot of podcasts. We're gonna talk about the season. We're gonna talk about the mental health. Actually, I would love to collab on a weekend with you at Moto America to where I can go out there and help talk about remix racing and the whole addiction thing, or the weekend too, and love to help you guys out. Too, as well, because what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. Again, I can't say it enough. I wish I had you around when I was battling it too. So yeah, if there's anything I can do besides, of course, the shout outs on the podcast and getting you on, but outside of that, please let me know, because I want to be part of it. I want to spread the love. I want to spread the word, and I want to get more people on board, because it's very important to do that. So yeah, looking forward to next year, and in 2026 I will be at Daytona, so I'll see you there too. And yeah, man, again, dude, your whole story, just everything, it's absolutely amazing. It's inspiring, and one thing I do want to say is, for those that are listening to this, besides all the remakes and the mental health is, even if you're 40s or your early 50s, man, you can still get out there and race and be competitive and have fun, right? Age is just a number. That's one thing I get asked all the time. Why do I think Josh Hayes and Jeremy McWilliams is still doing what they're doing? Which I'm having Jeremy McWilliams on Monday, which I can't wait.
I gotta have you give him a message for me, but finish what you're gonna say, and then I'm gonna have you give him a message for me.
I will. Shit, I just lost my train of thought, man. What?
You're talking about the older guys, the
older guys. Yeah. So they were like, why do I think they do it? And I'm like, it's an easy answer. It's because they're still deeply in love with the sport.
Yes.
110%.
Yes.
Right? It's the end all, be all, nothing else matters. And I asked when I seen Hayes, I was like, dude, Hayes, I get this question about you all the time, but this is my answer. Tell me what you think. And he just looked at me, smiled, and said, man, I love this shit. And I was like, I fucking knew it, man. I knew it, right? Yeah. So it's age is just a number. It's all right here. Again, the whole mental side of life, right? Don't never feel like you're outdated, I'll say, right? Because you're not. I changed the way I thought, and I talked about this earlier. So I still feel like I'm a kid now, right? And having my son really helped open my eyes to all this too, right? It's like I feel like if I play young, I think young, therefore I am young. If that makes sense, right? And to me, it's important. to think that way versus some of my friends like, oh, my body aches or this or that. I'm like, dude, it's because your body's not used to using those muscles, man. The pain is weakness leaving the body. So let's get into it even harder, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's absolutely. Kenny says we have a guy up here in MW region that just does track days with us, and he's almost 80 years old and rips on
Yes.
the
I
guy.
love hearing about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude. Again,
Yeah.
it's
I gotta tell you. So, there are people who ride and there are people who race, and then there are racers. People, it's in our blood, it's in our DNA. I'm gonna do it until I can't anymore. I feel like I really don't have a choice. But I got to tell you that yes, I think it keeps us young. I'm in the best shape. I mean, the kind of shape that I've had to get in for Moto America, knowing I'm competing against guys who are a third my age, and even them have been racing longer than I have, right? And the guys my age have been racing for maybe half their life. So the shape that I got to get in, the discipline that you have to put this. It really is. It extends beyond the track. And so the inspiration I get from being a racer and living this lifestyle and chasing the fast guys and being surrounded by people who are like-minded and have the same passion has kept me young and healthy. And I love hearing stories about the 60, 70, 80-year-olds. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to race at this level. So I'm going to get it all while I can, but I'm going to be part of this sport until my last breath. There's no question about it.
Dude, motorcycles is the Viagra for old men. Just word of advice to everybody. You don't need blue chews. You don't need none of that shit. Just that throttle therapy, baby. And bam, you come home, baby. I'm ready. Let's go. Right.
Yes,
Shit,
sir.
that's hilarious. Yeah.
That's
I mean, you're right, man. And listen, big congratulations to you and Shane and everybody, man. Love to sit down with your daughter too as well, coming up road racing, getting into Moto America. We had
Yes.
talked about this previously, so let's definitely line that up. Yeah, dude, Jeremy, listen, this has been a lot of fun. We're an hour and 17 minutes in this podcast already. It goes by, dude, so fast. Great conversation, man. Really enjoyed it. I'm gonna let you end the podcast here in a minute, but first I got to give all my shout outs real quick. I'm gonna keep it sweet and simple. First thing I'm gonna say, like I always say, thank you to Jeremy and everybody that shows me all the love and support. If it wasn't for Jeremy and everybody watching, without all the likes and subscribes, I would not be sitting there having this conversation with everybody, right? So it's you guys and girls out there that are the absolute legends, is the reason why I'm sitting in this chair right now behind this camera having this conversation with this legend right here on the show. So thank you guys and girls so much. It means the world to me. I know I say it all the time. I love each and every single one of you. If you have not had the chance yet, please go out on my social medias, hit the ding dongs, the TikToks, the likes, the subscribes, all that good stuff. Whatever the kids say today, right? Because we're not that cool. Are we that cool? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, listen, Jeremy, dude, this has been a lot of fun. Big shout out to Truth Be Told Apparel, Remix Racing. I mean, there's so many people I want to give a shout out to. You know exactly who you are. Just real quick off the top of the dome, Venom Sport, 64 Degree Racing, Road Racing World. Listen, it's imperative. Please donate to roadracingworld.com for the air fences. If we did not have the air fences, we did not have the corner marshal workers, right, we would not be out there having fun. Jeremy would not be out there racing. We wouldn't be out there talking about remix or mental health or any of that. So big shout out to all the corner marshal workers. Big shout out to Road Racing World. Please donate to the air fence. If anybody's interested in doing it, any type of corner marshal worker, hit me up. I'll put you in direct contact because we're looking for moto corner marshal workers in Moto America next year. And they also do the MotoGP event at COTA too as well. So it's very important that we have, you guys and girls out there. Again, nothing but love and respect to everybody, especially in the sport. You guys and girls hear me say it all the time. It's a puzzle, right? It's this beautiful circus of a puzzle, but every little piece is just as important. Like Jeremy is just as important as Jeremy McWilliams or Chris Ulrich or whoever it is. It's all these little puzzle pieces which makes up that big beautiful circus, and without that individual puzzle piece, it's not going to be the same. So Jeremy, thank you so much for doing what you're doing, all the love and support, man. I loved watching you this season. You absolutely kicked ass this year. I cannot wait for 2026 because you're going to do even better, man. All those visions and goals and dreams that you want to achieve next year, man, I hope you achieve them 10 times over. I really do, man. You got it. And I say it all the time. It's just as important for a rider to have that love and support with his team behind him so he can go out there and focus, leave his brain in the pit box, and go out there and do what he needs to do out there on the track and not have to worry about, oh, I wonder if my mechanics, tighten this or torque this or did that right. You don't need that when you're out there. So that team is just as important as being clear right here, mentally and physically. So yeah, on that note, Jeremy, man, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody about Remix Racing, Truth Be Told Apparel, where they can buy the merch, all that good stuff, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. So, you can find us on. We're a nonprofit, so we're a IRS approved 501c3 nonprofit charity. So when you look us up on for our website, it's the remixracingproject.org or remixrecovery.org. It'll take you to the same place. You find all kinds of information about us, everything that we do. You can even read my bio and some race reports from this past season. Truthbetoldapparel.com is Shayna's business. She can get you fitted. She's at the point now, like I said, because 2026 season has started. She's open for sponsorship applications, but she can make you and your team look like those factory teams, more professional than any of us probably really are. And last year I couldn't have been on the grid without support from Helix Health Sciences, which is one of our biggest sponsors. We've got a lot of others. Cool to mention my sponsors?
Mention the microphone is yours, baby. It's
okay.
All you.
Appreciate it. So Rider Gear makes my suits, Tech Spec, Bryce Kornbaugh from BPR builds my bikes. Hawk has done some training with me, the Mazada Moto Camp. Tuned Racing, we talked about Mike's team. Woodcraft, Graves, Vortex, Moto Works. Virgil can repair and paint your body work. If you crash as much as me, it's good to have him on speed dial. GB Racing gave me some support. Trident Cycles, Andrew can do some pretty cool stuff with the 3D printer, and he built my custom number plate, and TST gave me some support also this last year. And we're also looking for new sponsors, whether it's product support, cash, you name it. So hopefully we pick some more up. But what I really want to say before I give back the mic is that a really close friend of mine, and I'm going to try to be respectful and not say too much, but a close friend of mine whose name is Rich was in a really, really bad crash, and he's still in the hospital recovering. This was a week after my crash, and his was really, really bad. He's an amazing human being. I talk to him on a pretty regular basis, and he always keeps a super positive attitude. He is a true racer in his core DNA. He's a fan of the sport. He loves it more than anybody else I know. And right now he's still in the hospital trying to recover. He's constantly in my thoughts and prayers. And whether you know him or don't know him or wonder if you know him, please, just put out your thoughts and prayers. We had some really bad injuries in Moto3 this last weekend. It's a dangerous sport. We all know what we signed up for. We all know what's at risk every time we throw our leg over that bike. But Rich, I love you. I've got you in my thoughts and my prayers. Speedy recovery, and I ask all of you to join me in sending good vibes his way. But anyway, thank you. Thank you,
Rich.
Appreciate it.
Listen, sending y'all the love and positive vibes, bro. You got this. I love you too, man. If there's anything you need, Rich, Jeremy, give my number, man. Reach out to me, call me, man. I'd love to chat, man. But everybody listen to this, man. Reach out to Rich. Just send him your positive thoughts and loves, man. It really means a lot. I'm a big advocate for speak it into existence. If you're positive and you speak it to existence, man, good shit's gonna happen. If you stay negative Nelly all the time, right, negative shit's gonna happen. So be positive, keep that positive outlook, and dude, Rich, sending you all the love and the positive vibes, my friend. And I will keep doing that until you're back at home with that leg back over that motorcycle, doing this again and smiling, boy. Let's go, right? I love it, dude. Real quick, John, dude, listen, John, it was an absolute honor to meet you, my friend, at Daytona. Photographer, I forget name of your photography business. I got a whole stack of a list of them, but you know who you are. Thank you so much, dude. It was real quick story on him. I was standing on the grig and on pit lane, And he's like, "Hey man, will you give us a shout out real quick?" I'm like, "Bro, write everybody's name down on this piece of paper. I got you, dude." So as soon as he did it, I'm at Daytona. I had the mic, right? So of course, everybody at Daytona, hey, big shout out to all the listen camera people out there, the photographers. It's what you guys and girls do is so beautiful for our sport because you tell this most amazing story behind the camera. It's all in pictures, right? But everybody knows when you go to an art museum or whatever, you see that certain picture, it just grabs you and it pulls you in and you feel like you're actually there in that picture. John does that, right? And I got a lot of friends that do it too. So big shout out to all the photographers out there. It's a lot of work too as well, doing what they do out in the hot sun, carrying those. Listen, those cameras are not light. I know a lot of photographers, and I was there, and I was like, "Bro, let me hold that camera." And I was like, "Holy shit, dude, you got to be kidding me right now, right?" Yeah, it's no joke. So, again, all the camera men and women, nothing but love and support because we thank you. We really thank you. And then we got Tuna. What is up, Tuna? Holla. I love that picture. Look at
Brian.
Tuna's picture, dude. Tuna's awesome, man. Let's go.
I shared the grid with Brian this year.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
We had some battles.
Oh, yeah, dude, for sure. You know, and his whole program's amazing too. You know, taking an SV 1000 and Super Hooligan racing us for $4,000. I mean, let's go. What a story. It's absolutely amazing. But listen, me and Jeremy, we'll just keep talking. I'm gonna end this podcast here in a minute. Just down with me real quick, Jeremy. I'll get your thing that you want me to tell Mick Williams. I make sure I write it down. And listen, this episode, it used to be out the next day. Just give me about 30 minutes. It'll be out everywhere. Spotify, iHeart, and all that good stuff. And I'll tag you on all the socials and everything that goes along with it. So yeah, until next time, me and you'll sit down again. Looking forward to it. And listen, when you guys show up to Daytona, please go to Remix Racing, get you that hat, get you that t-shirt, get you that picture, get you that autograph, and do this. Talk.
Yes.
That's the most important. Talk. Whatever you have on your chest, get it out. We'll be there. I'll be there. If you need an ear or two or four, we got you covered, or more than that, because there's going to be however many people in Remix times 2 ears. Yeah, we got a lot of ears there that weekend, so we're there for each and every single one of you. And on that note, I love all of you. Is there anything you want to say before I end this?
No, just thank you all for being part of this. Thank you all for the comments. Brian, hopefully I'll see you in Daytona. And Chris, keep up the good work. Keep creating this forum for us to get to know one another better. I really appreciate it. I feel very honored by the privilege. Thank you.
Dude, listen, the honor is absolutely all mine, my friend. And on that note, we are out of here and we'll catch you soon, my friends.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.